What's going on, guys? It's your boy Jay, and this is Overplay. Unfortunately, I'm rolling it without Patrick. Lonely. I missed. No, we won't go there. But I am here with Wood. Today we're going to be talking about conspiracy theories
on Jay Overplay.
I've been thinking about quite a few of them, and they're kind of freaky.
I can't hear him.
You can't hear me? Hold on. Let me make sure everything's working, people. And then I'll just fucking cry and kill. And
he's talking, but I can't hear him. Son of a beer.
Let's see. Okay, no. All right, you can hear me on YouTube, and that's really all that matters. So I mean, it kind of doesn't matter, but I guess he could like listen to it at a distance. So some of them we're going to be talking about today are I've got DB Cooper. That's kind of a crazy one of what happened with that. The moon landing, and we're also going to be talking about like, is Hitler alive? I don't know, maybe. And then we'll talk about some littler ones, stuff like is Tupac alive? Some of those other ones, and anything you guys have, please put it in the chat because I want to know which ones you guys think of, or which ones that you guys are kind of like, hey, that's real. So anyway, let's kind of dive in.
Just answer your phone, Jay. I got a fix here.
Oh, you got a fix? Okay, hold on. Here's Wood. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah,
can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Sweet. I just plugged you into the mixer. We're good to go. Let's go.
Okay.
Just keep it on there, though, so I can hear you.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry, I hung up right before you said that. You just settle down there, baby cub. All right, now I'm calling.
Okay, don't hang up this time.
Okay. Don't hang up. Got it. I can kind of hear a little bit of an echo on me, but that's fine. Anyway, so we're going to be talking. One thing you kind of hear a fan. It's hot as balls in this room. Like legit, it's probably hotter than a spoon at Demi Lovato's house. No, but seriously, it's hot in here. Okay, like it's pretty hot. So anyway, one of the big ones that I kind of looked into quite a bit was DB Cooper. If any of you guys don't know, DB Cooper hijacked a plane, got a bunch of money, and then took off into ended up going in the plane, bailing out somewhere between Portland and Reno, parachuted out of there, and he's never been found. Some of the money he took had been found, but like less than 5%, right? Like it's like crazy. You could have seen Without a Paddle, they kind of talk about a little bit with it, but it's kind of crazy. So anyway, kind of the premise is a guy buys a plane on Boeing 767. I want to say it was like, I can't even remember the airline now. That's so stupid. But anyway, so he buys a plane ticket, and when he gets on the plane, he has a stewardess get next to him. He hands her a note. It says, "Hey, I'm hijacking this plane. I want $200,000. No funny business," or something like that. No funny business, I think is the exact term. So lady just puts it in her pocket. He has to like, hey, no, seriously, look. He like shows her a bomb, and he's like, hey, I'm gonna blow up this damn plane. You need to go to the front of the plane, tell them these are my demands, otherwise I'm gonna blow them up. There's like 36 passengers on this little plane. So he goes. Mind you, guys wearing like a suit with a trench coat, loafers, hat. Look like, he's being all fancy. Like so fancy. He ordered a bourbon and soda. Like, dude was fancy. Okay, so
he looks sharp. It was not like he was dressed like a bum.
No, yeah, this guy was. I mean, do you remember when flying used to be like?
It was a big deal.
It was a big deal. Now it's no longer a big deal. Most people are in pajamas. So
I try and go as comfortable as I can, to be quite honest with you.
See, I always go like in the middle. Like I still act as if like I'm going out, but I don't like tie and all that stuff, right?
No, yeah.
So,
Pants and a t-shirt.
um, so I do that, or sorry, I do that. I didn't do any of this. So they land the plane. Feds give him $200,000, which I think this was back in the 50s or 60s. So that's like quite a bit of money, right? And he wants it all in $20 bills. So he keeps the crew on the plane, but he releases the other 36 passengers. And just anyway, so he does that. They fly. They're going to fly to Mexico City. He says, "I want to fly to Mexico City, and I want you to keep the plane below 10,000 feet." So he goes in the middle of the night, and he also asks for 4 parachutes. So 2 parachutes with 2 secondaries, right? So they give him all of it. They're like, "Okay, here you go. They're going to fly you to Mexico City, and then everybody will be safe." So he does it, and somewhere between Portland and Reno, he bails out, and he's never found. His body's never found. The parachute is never found. Some money was found later in a beach. I want to say it was like Tina Beach or something like that. But so they ended up finding like $5,800. So hold on, let's on YouTube. Sorry, there's people asking what my link is. Anyway, anyway, let's get back to it.
I think I was also creating an echo for you, so that's on me.
Okay. So anyway, I can still hear it a little bit, but that's fine. So anyway, he flies, bails out, never found again. The only money they find at this beach was $5,800 in a brown paper bag, which is something he was carrying, right? They scour this plane for evidence, and some of it they don't tell the people, they don't tell like the public about. Some of it they do. So they find a tie, and they've done a lot of like stuff with it. We'll get into that in a minute. So crazy stuff. It's kind of crazy that like a hijacking guy got away, right? And again, it's 50s, 60s, so it's a little bit different time, but still, it's pretty crazy. Couple things that I thought was kind of interesting. I've done a bunch of research on. One, DB Cooper. Actually, I don't know how they got that. I couldn't find any good link of why he was called DB Cooper, because the name on the ticket was Dan. Dan Cooper. So the actual name on it was Dan Cooper. Now, back in those days, I don't think you needed a license to show who you were, because it was pre 9/11. Hey, what's going on, Borganic?
Not only is it
hey, Boxer Mama. I know.
Not only is it pre
what's going on, Double D?
So 9/11, it's like pre everything. So I'm pretty sure that like the licenses were paper, like your driver's license, it was paper. And you verified it with like your cousin's friend that was like, "Yeah, that's DB. He's my guy." No, he's just okay, whatever. Anyway.
So it's the same thing. So Dan Cooper, I don't know how they got DB Cooper. Again, I haven't found any good links. If you guys know why they call him DB Cooper, that'd be great. But legit, I couldn't find anything legit with it. So, hi, Rooney. Anyway, so now let's get to the crazy parts, right? Because that's what happened. That's what happened. Like, none of that is like falsified or conspiracy theory. Like, that has happened. All that stuff. Pretty crazy. So, did guy get away with $200,000? We don't know.
Yes.
Because, I think he did.
Absolutely. Yes.
Hold on. Let me get into a couple things of why I don't know. Right? Okay. So, first of all, he's in a suit, which is kind of different. So, the first one was they were like obviously trying to find who it was, right? So they go over a couple of people, and they're like trying to find certain people. Some of them, people are saying like, "Oh, hey, I think it's my brother." One of them, a lady says that it's her husband. Like his last dying wish was last dying words were like, "Hey, by the way, I was Dan Cooper." So the first one was, so The first one, shut up, Rudy. The first one is a guy that goes by the name of Richard McCoy. He's the first one who people believe is him because he does the exact same thing like 9 years later. Same exact thing. He does. Except he got caught. So he does things like he does it on a Boeing 767. He does he passes a note to him. It says the same, like, no funny business. He goes out the back, just like out of the Boeing 767, the same way that DB Cooper did. We're going to call him DB Cooper, though, even though I can't find a link to that. You have that, right? So he does that. Oh, what else does he do? He does one other thing. Anyway, he does it all. Oh, yeah, he asks for 4 parachutes as well, which is kind of weird because he never has an accomplice. And we'll get into that in just a second after I tell this. So anyway, so we go over that. They do. He does the same thing, except he falls and they end up catching him, right? Later, he goes to, he's a BYU graduate. He has like this little BYU tag, which a lot of people believe comes into play later. So he gets caught. Family says, hey, we know an item that was left on the plane by DB Cooper that the feds didn't release. And the feds agree. They were able to say that something was on the plane that they never released, so it kind of links them. However, when they show the picture to the what are the people up in the air? Sky bitches. What are the people that are up in the air that serve out the food? Yeah. So that ends up being all sorts of crazy, right? So they're like, hey, it's not him. They're like, okay. He ends up getting caught. And then honestly, how his story ends is he ends up getting out of prison in Pennsylvania for stealing the plane. He ends up getting in a shoot with feds and then dies, right? Kind of fishy. Stewardess. Thank you. Stewardess, not sky bitch. Stewardess. That's what they're called. So he does that, and it's a little fishy, right? There's a lot of fishy things. But he doesn't look like the guy entirely. Doesn't fit the same description. Now, the reason we know he doesn't have an accomplice is because they actually asked the pilot of DB Cooper's plane why he went the direction that he did. And so he says that he chose his own route. All DB Cooper told him to do was get in a plane and head towards Mexico City. So there's no way that they could have set there's no way that they can set hi Lexi there's no way that they could set a place to meet up because he has no idea where he's going because they moved the plane. The pilot was the one that chose the flight, and he actually goes off a little bit. If you actually see the flight, he actually goes like off to the right and down instead of going straight. Now, maybe DB Cooper didn't really think about that, and so maybe he did have an accomplice, but they never like met up at the end. I think that kind of debunks it, though, because you think he would have told the pilot. I mean, how would he be so specific with all his things, but then that's the thing that he kind of drops the ball on? Anywho, so things that hold on, you come in scratchy. So the one thing that's kind of odd about it, also another thing really quickly, is the feds, when they gave him the parachutes, they admit that they gave him a parachute that was not steerable, right? It was a military parachute. So they give him a military parachute that's not steerable. I'm assuming so they hope that he goes directly down. They can kind of snag him up, right? And the other thing is they sew the secondary parachute up so he can't use it. So really he only has 2 parachutes out of the 4. And again, they're not steerable. So they kind of believe that he was a paratrooper at first, but then there's a lot of reasons why they believe he wasn't. We'll kind of get into those in a second. But he was also calm during the heist, which is also like obviously not, not very common, I guess. I don't know. I've never hijacked a plane. But so the reason they believe that he wasn't a paratrooper was no paratrooper would, they believe, I mean, this is some of the feds, right? Who knows what they're telling us, what they're not. They believe that no paratrooper would have jumped out of the plane in loafers and a suit in the rain, because it was raining in the middle of the night at 200-mile-an-hour winds, because that's how fast the plane's going. And there was, the reason they believe he died was because if he did jump, because those were the conditions in which he jumped at, it's dark, and because it's raining, there's clouds out, and the clouds are at 5,000 feet, not giving him a whole lot of time for him to jump to release this parachute, especially in the middle of the night where you're not able to see as well. So yeah, now I can hear you. So kind of odd things that kind of are piling up that are just a little bit odd, right? To see if he actually died or not. But again, if he died and he was found, and so, sorry, they believe he also died because they believe that he probably landed in the river that actually eventually went down to this beach, and that's why the money was there. But the feds took out like 100 guys, and they went scouring the entire river and up the banks and digging to see if they could find the rest of this money. To see that, right? Now, another thing is they wrote down all the feds were pretty smart about this. They wrote down all the serial numbers to all the money. They released them to everybody, so that way if that serial number came up, that people would be able to say, hey, this was that person. Not that you'd be able to, because they're all 20s, right? I mean, he could go to strip clubs and immediately kind of like cycle that money out. So kind of crazy stuff. Again, no shooter body found. Kind of crazy. There was other guys that they believed. Like I said, there was, I want to say, a guy named Dwayne who they believed it was, who, again, he tells his wife, hey, I was DB Cooper, and then he dies. And then wife's like, starts like looking into it and starts finding like connections. But it's the wife. Like, we don't know how much she's telling the truth or she's a liar, just trying to get like famous from it, whatever, right? There was one guy who was a paramilitary trooper, who they believed was that some feds believed was him because he fit the physical description. But then there was they were able to actually place him in places. Same with Richard McCoy. Is that what his name is? Yeah, I think it's Richard McCoy. Yeah, Richard McCoy. Richard McCoy was in Utah on the day after for Thanksgiving, I believe it was. He's in at family dinner, right? So he's at that. They believe that the item that the family was able to identify inside the plane that nobody else was a BYU thing with his initials in it, right? So they believe that that's what a lot of people believe. Now, obviously, that's never been confirmed or denied by the feds, and they said that Richard McCoy was not the guy. So, yeah, there was a couple of guys who tried to actually impersonate DB Cooper, saying they were him, tried releasing a book. They ended up getting charged with it or getting charged for it. But pretty crazy stuff. Again, never found the money, never found an accomplice, never found the parachute, nothing. Like, none of it has ever come to be. Again, if you watch that silly movie Without a Paddle, they think that he like fell in like a cavern and then he just died, right? That's silly. But it kind of leads you to believe like what happened to DB Cooper. Why is he called DB Cooper? And where is that damn money? Like, that's what I want to know. So wouldn't it be funny? Like, let's say I'm going out camming. Let's say this money lasted that long, right? And you start spending it, and then all of a sudden you got the feds, because the feds stopped the investigation not crazy long ago, only 5 years ago in 2016. So it would be funny for that to come up. So 45 years ago. So that's when it happened. It was 45 years ago from 2016. So after 45 years, they're like, hey, it's not really worth it. However, they still do take hints and tips. If you have them, send them to me first, because I want to find the money or try to find this guy, because, dude, that would be crazy for this channel if I was like the first one, DB Cooper. That'd be cool. So if you have any information on that,
probably have more viewers and listeners than you have now if you were the one that actually solved the case.
Maybe. I would hope so. I would hope I'd have at least 14.
You double it.
Dribble. They're still finding money here and there to this day. Really, Borganic? I did not know that. See, that's crazy. He had to have I mean, no, because again, you would think you would have found more of it, right? I don't think you're like on the side of the pond, you're like, oh, here's $20. Ooh, here's $20. I think.
Yeah, how do they know it's linked to that?
Because they wrote down the serial numbers. What they did, what I think they actually did is I bet you they have money that they just have for that type of stuff. So that so they'll like print out a certain money. They'll print out a certain batch of dollars that they know all the serial numbers to, and then they'll give them out, right? So they know it's from here to here, and they're like, all right, guys, EJL, and then the numbers here. This is the numbers. If anybody sees these, let us know. Or if it ever comes into contact with them. Again, it's going to be kind of hard, though. I think you would have to be a DB Cooper to even realize that that's a thing. Or they'd have to be maybe taken into banks. Maybe banks have to write serial numbers. I don't know. I don't know how that's even a thing. But it's pretty crazy because that kid found it, $5,800 on the beach, which I don't. That's I think also crazy too because wouldn't you? Who calls? If I found $5,800, Daddy's keeping it.
I'm not saying a word.
I'm not saying a goddamn word. I'm spending it like crazy.
Nope. Yeah, you'll never know that I had that. It'll show up in a. If I'm a kid, it's going to show up at a video game somewhere, like the arcade or something.
Oh yeah.
It's not going to show up to the authorities. Look what I found on the beach. Nope.
Oh, yeah. Hey, did anybody lose this? No, that's dumb.
How come Johnny has a new bicycle?
Yeah, exactly. So that one's a pretty crazy one. That's the one I know the most about. The Dan Cooper thing, I think is a pretty crazy story because nobody knows what's happened to him. And I think it'd be pretty crazy, which seems likely that he got away. That like that's what happened. A guy hijacked a plane, got $200,000, which probably in those days was probably like $1 million, right? Or even more.
Yeah. As it goes over the years, it's a lot of money.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's pretty epic that you were able to get away with so much money and we've never been able to find him. Good job, feds. Just kidding. Don't Epstein me. So the other one, and speaking of which, I'm not going to bring up like alien ones because I want to actually do an alien whole podcast just about aliens, right? So if you know a lot about aliens, you've done a lot of research, let me know. I'll put you on the show, baby. So there's that one. I'm also not going to do ones on like 9/11. Nothing like that. I want to do like some good ones. Okay, so my second one that I know a little bit about, not a whole lot.
Here we go.
Was the moon. Like, did we land on the moon?
Yes.
See, I don't know, dude. I don't think we landed on the moon in 1969. I think America, we're like, fuck it. Yeah, we did. And just to beat Russia, we're just like, we got better film crews.
So I also don't understand why we would lie about that.
Because we were rushing China, and I think just to show the overall power that we had over Russia and China.
All we had to really do was just pull down our pants and be like, look, here it is.
It's America. I don't know.
But I don't see why we would fake that. Like, what would be the point of that? It seems silly to me. And not only that, that's a long time to keep up a conspiracy that we didn't land on the moon. Like, think about these guys that did. To this day, they are saying, yeah, like they still have the stories. So you don't think that enough money could pay them off and have them say, okay, I'm just kidding. We actually didn't. It was all staged.
Well, hold on. So Rooney says, yes, we did. Well, those other countries believe we landed on the moon because they never contested it either. And that's true. Nobody ever contested it. And the contestant that we do have, so some of the things that people believe, the reasons why it's false, please give me more if you guys know more. I don't know all of the conspiracy theories. I know the big one is always the flag, right? Because the flag's kind of waving. The only reason is I feel like that would have been okay, here's Borg. Not even a year before we land on the moon, we had a failed attempt, and the whole entire team died in a fiery death. That's true. Like, I mean, a year is a long time, so maybe that did come into play. I don't know. But so some of the ones that are interesting is the flag is a little weird. But again, I also wonder, like, why wouldn't they just starch the hell out of a flag and just have it flat?
And last time you were on the moon, what did the flag do for you?
It was just straight. It was weird.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah. Uh-huh. So the other things, and again, I think we got there eventually.
Before you go on, What's the issue with the flag? Tell me what the issue is.
Because they say because there's no atmosphere, the flag shouldn't wave. And it's kind of like in a waving motion. And so a lot of people are like, hey, if there's no atmosphere on the moon, why is that waving? Right? That's why. That's like their big thing.
I don't know.
The flag moving is just aliens messing with us. Maybe. We don't know. Aliens are crazy because, okay, and I'm just going to touch on aliens just for a second. But that weird.
They are totally real.
So I 100% believe aliens are real. I just don't know if they visited us, right? We had that one that the military is now going like, maybe that's an alien. But that just seems weird to me. I never trust the government. You know what I mean?
Have you ever been to like Egypt and Egypt's? It's not plural. It's singular.
Both of them. I've been to both Egypt, North and South Egypt.
Have you been to the pyramids there, or in Mexico City? Going back to your boy, DB Cooper. Have you been to the pyramids there? Like, so how do they build these things so perfectly without some like assistance?
So the reason why, so if you see the pyramids, they're not flat. So I will give you, I actually think Mayan architecture is weirder than Egyptian, personally, because a lot of people believe that the pyramids are flat, and they're not. They're like slow steps up, right? And you kind of have that. I mean, you still have that. It's a pretty crazy stone cut type of thing, but
it's not necessarily the jag of the steps, because it's also kind of like a religious thing for the time.
Yeah.
So you have the steps to go up it, and I understand. It's the latitude, longitude of them that makes them more unique, and the square bottom. So you have the pyramids, because the ones in Mexico City, they are flat topped. They're not a pyramid. They don't come to a peak. They're flat topped. You can go up there, but what makes them unique is that they are latitude, longitude are perfect. But there's more than one. It's like a couple city blocks worth of pyramids that are all perfectly aligned. Like, now,
it is weird, and we're going to talk about aliens later, because this is the type of stuff that's weird to me. It's weird. I will admit. Like, we're going to go on an aliens thing again. If you know a lot about aliens, please come on the show. I'll sit down. I'll interview you. I'll buy you some mics hard, and we'll just get down. Okay. So
none of that will the top shelf shit.
Yeah. No Blue Label. So. Unless you got like really good stuff, but anyway.
What about that Jameson $70 fire stuff?
Yeah, you know who you are. So let's get back to it. So we got the moon landing. Some of the other moon landing ones are kind of different. So the big one is the Buzz Aldrin picture, right? Yep. He's coming down off of the pod. The LEM or something like that. I think it's LEM. The LEM, he's coming off, and the shadowing is different. Next on To Catch a Predator. I still want to let me hurry and just touch on that for a second. If you no, we won't. That's not. No, that's another story.
Just continue.
Well, so the picture with Buzz Aldrin has weird lighting, because it almost looks like the lighting's coming from all angles, which is kind of weird. They also have the camera that comes off of the LEM that gets a different picture of him, which NVIDIA, like the company NVIDIA, like set up a bunch of things because they were paid by the government. So they came up with a bunch of stuff to disprove the moon landing theories, right? That we didn't go there. They're disproving that we didn't go there. They're saying we 100% did. So,
okay.
So I'll get into that. I guess
my question at this point, like, so in 1969, that was a lot of years ago. Okay, that was 51 years ago. So what if we don't, or what if we didn't? Then what is that like? What does that prove? Disprove? What does it matter at this point? It's so long ago that it doesn't affect anything in today's society.
No, but that's the whole awesome thing about conspiracy. There's so much fun because, you know, if the government lied to us about the moon landing, it's just this kind of like fun, like we knew it type of thing, right? So it's just kind of weird.
I don't know. I at least for this one, for me, And the moon, I 100% believe that we landed on the moon.
So,
like
let me
you
go
would
off
have
of.
to. I would have to have Buzz come to my house, sit down with me, have a drink, and say, "Wood, it didn't happen. Here's why and how." And then I'd be like, "Okay, we landed on the moon."
So the weird, like we still did. So the weird thing is, again, Buzz Aldrin. He has weird lighting on him. Also in the sky, the stars aren't there, right? If there's no atmosphere, you should be able to see all the stars in the sky. There should be no problem with seeing the stars in the sky with no atmosphere, right? Anybody who's been out to, even, again, we still have an atmosphere, but even going out places, I mean, the stars are so bright, right? And there's no pollution, there's nothing. That is odd. I'll get to why NVIDIA believes that that's a thing.
Wait, there's no stars in the background?
Yeah, there's no stars in the background. And
so the 4K cameras they were using then didn't pick them up?
So they would have picked them up. Now, and I'll get into why they didn't. Or why NVIDIA believes they didn't. So they didn't get them.
Those cameras aren't the same cameras then as they are now.
No, but they are. It would have been enough to pick up the stars. Now, conspiracy theorists believe that it didn't pick up the stars because then they would have had to align those with the exact place that it'd be on the moon, and so it would have disproved it because they'd have been like, "Hey, look at the stars. No, obviously you weren't on the moon because so on and so forth." Right? Now, the reason NVIDIA believes that what happened was because the camera had to get turned down to a different setting because the sun was hitting the moon, right? Which is why you can see the moon and it's shining and it's bright. So, either way, America, we beat those darn Ruskies. So they
absolutely.
They believe that Neil Armstrong turned the camera to a different setting to be able to pick up Buzz Aldrin. And therefore, it, again, because the cameras aren't great, right? Right now, you could probably do that with my Fuji, and you'd be able to pick up everybody and the light and the stars, right? Obviously, it's 1969. It's the summer of 69. And so you have that. He has to turn it to a different setting, so that's why you don't get any of the stars. The other camera, again, picks him up with different lighting than what he has on his backside. Now, part of that, and NASA, this is actually a NASA thing, is NASA said that, well, the suit that Neil Armstrong is wearing is made out of, I don't know, Teflon, let's say, right? It's white, and it reflects 95% of the light, right? So I'm assuming that to keep them cool, and there's a bunch of other probably scientific reasons that I'm not smart enough to know. But the light hits him and is actually reflecting off of him to hit Ben Askren, Buzz Aldrin. So, and they've actually done some, because obviously technology is crazy now. So they recreated the entire thing and were able to turn off the light to Neil Armstrong's suit, and it does make quite a bit of a difference. It's kind of cool. Now, I don't know if that entirely means we landed on the moon or not. I think those are kind of weird, but I mean, it's kind of.
We did.
I think it's kind of weird. I will admit, I think it's kind of weird. So those
are my. Be a hard
sell
for me to believe that we didn't, just because it's part of Americana. Like it's who we are, in essence. Like, it's part of our history, and it's such a big part of our history. So if we're like, no, we didn't, while I don't think it changes a lot, it's still like. It's not going to change our future, but it still says a lot that we are the pioneers there. And as Eric said, we beat the
darn Ruskies.
Those damn Russians.
Damn you. Other conspiracy theory, and this actually one is a pretty good one, I think. And you can watch. There's a ton of shows on it now. It's kind of hard to know which one's real and not real and stuff like that. Is Hitler is still alive? The Hitler was never killed. Right? I think it's a good one. You went out again.
Oh, all right.
Now I can hear you.
Am I back? Okay,
yep,
so back. even if Hitler wasn't killed back then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even if he lived through that whole thing, which I don't think he did, he's dead now.
Yeah, probably. I mean, otherwise he's like, I don't know,
he's like 140.
Yeah, but I mean, Nazis have crazy scientific. I mean, who knows? Maybe they created something.
No, they didn't. Actually, what they did was
created zombies.
So, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, what the Nazis did and the experiments that they did, they were doing human testing on things that had already been tested and proven to be like the science was there. They were doing experiments on people to prove their own science, basically to torture the shit out of people.
Well, they would also want to do ones to like create super soldiers. I know that was like a big thing that they started doing. Like one of the scientists actually got to South America.
But they tried that with science that had already been disproven. And they were like, well, we're going to do it better because we're Nazis and we're Hitler. And yet, no.
Or maybe
Hitler's dead, whether he wasn't killed or not. So who really gives a shit? He was killed.
I don't think he was killed.
Otherwise, like if you look at any dictator or any of these guys now, any of the terrorists leaders now, once they're killed, like their reign goes to somebody else, and then it continues with under somebody else.
Yeah.
Or once they're done, they're done. But with him, once he was done, like that was it. Like there was no, Hitler popped up over here, or he popped up over here or here.
Well,
it was done.
So the reason why I think that happened, though, because there are colonies in South America that speak nothing but Russian or speak nothing but German. A lot of people believe that he actually went to Antarctica because they actually have made bases in Antarctica. They started one. They believe that there's one, which we'll get into later, of another base, right? So the weird things about Hitler's death. So the first person they believe he's killed, they believe that's him. It's really funny because they're like, we don't know if it's him. And they're like, clearly it's not him. But let's send it to
132 right now, by the way.
Yeah, so he's probably towards the end. So he sends it to anyway, so they're like, they send his picture and they send his body to doctors and they're like, no, it's not Hitler. If you knew, and it was really funny because they're like, no, we knew it wasn't him. I'm like, then why'd you go through all the trouble of seeing if it was him? Because you thought it was him, you idiot. So anyway, a lot of guys had doubles. They believe that Hitler had multiples. They know Stalin had a few. They even knew Churchill had one. Like that was kind of a common thing. I don't even know if it's a common thing now, but it was definitely a common thing back in the day.
So here, I don't think now because it's harder to do it now. Back then, you didn't have the access to media like you do now.
Yeah.
So I think honestly, I think Hitler may have. I don't know that Hitler I don't think we killed him.
No, we definitely didn't.
He died before. So he was.
So do you know how
that he was so addicted to his like meth and the drugs that he was experimenting on, even though that was like how he ran on his platform, was like anti-drug, he
was an artist, Brian. He could do meth.
Yeah, so he was like anti-drugs, he was anti-violence, yet he was one of the worst dictators in world history. However, modern world history. But I think he died from all of his drug shit way before we even got to him. I think his regime, and maybe that's why there was another one that lived on past him. I think like they care because those guys were assholes. The Nazis went on for a long time. I think he died before that, and somebody ran it. And so then they take him in and they test him, and they're like, well, that's not him. And you're like, yeah, gosh, I know.
So weird things about his death. So the how he was actually, we believe that he was killed was suicide. Him and his girl, Aiden or something like that, she took a cyanide pill, and he killed himself with a Walther PPK. And then they took him outside.
Wasn't it supposed to be like as he knew his end was near, so he's like, I'm going to end it right now.
Yeah, that's what people believe. So
I don't know.
So he does that. He kills himself. They take his body outside in a shallow grave and they light it on fire. Right. Now, weird things about that is why would they do that? I just don't understand unless they wanted people to still believe that he was still alive. Other weird things.
Yes, I think that's why. I think.
But the weird things about it is, so another weird thing about it is that the first people to announce it was Nazi Germany, not us. Like we didn't like raid a base, see that he was alive, and then or see that he was dead, and then we announced it. Right? What happened was he died in a Nazi base, buried, burned. Got to us. We still were fighting in Berlin at the time. After the fight for Berlin, we went to this base and we found a body that was charred that they said was him, and then we kind of believed it. Now, a couple years ago,
I still think we killed. I still think he died prior to that. Whether he could have still been burned, he could have been that body. He could have been a different body.
So the Russians did take his body, and they wouldn't let the U.S. see. Why hide it? Now here's the thing. And this is the weird thing.
He died prior to. I think he died as a drug addict. And
see, I think he got away. I think 100% he got away.
If you keep running, like if you are a society of people that want to murder all of the Jews and wipe out this whole society, and your leader dies, and if you admit that he's gone now your people below him. Now who are they going to look to, right? So it might be in some disarray, people running all over. But if you have to keep him alive in order to keep doing what you're doing. So I believe, and this is my own conspiracy, so this is what we're talking about. Go to hell, everybody else. I believe he died before anything was ever announced, and we don't know when he died. I think he died way before because he was such an addict and he had such issues. I think he died way before, and they just kept the legacy of what he was alive to keep running and killing the Jews like they were.
So Borgana kind of brings up a good point of like, why wouldn't the Russians let us see it? Now, I don't know why Russians would hide it from us. That brings up a whole lot of issues. I know a couple years ago,
because they were going to the moon and we weren't at the time.
Well, no, because this was they kept it all the way up until a couple years ago, and then they let some French scientists go in, or some French. Hold on, his burned body. Hold on, let me hurry and see this. Never heard this crazy conspiracy with drugs. Not so. So, Russians burned his body. They didn't actually identify him by his teeth till a couple of years ago. Some French, not scientists, but some French doctors went in, tested his teeth, found dental records, and they were able to say that it was him. And they also didn't find any meat within the teeth. As I don't know if any of you guys know, but Hitler was vegan, and so they were like, hey, that's a pretty good indicator as well. Now, again, this is very many years later. We don't.
Did you say they found meat in his teeth?
Yeah, they didn't find meat in his teeth.
They did or did not?
Did not.
Oh,
otherwise it would have kind of been disproven. So that was like one of their things where they're like, hey, this is why. Right now, again, they never tested his teeth up until a couple years ago with these French doctors. Again, the reason that's kind of weird is it's a small group of doctors. It's an easy way to like. Again, it's also Russia. They're good with all their kind of conspiracies. So who knows if that's actually true? Now, it totally could be. Hitler could have killed himself, and that's what happened. Now, here's the conspiracy, is that he got either to South America or Antarctica. Now, the reason they believe Antarctica is they knew Nazis were going down to Antarctica to set up their own land. Now, they believe that some of that land should be theirs. Right? They believe that because they were going to take over world domination, that they should at least establish some type of thing there. So they actually went down there, and instead of going down with like the head of science, they went down with the head of Air Force and strategies and stuff like that. Excuse me. Which is kind of odd, right? And we'll get why I think that's kind of linked here later. So they go down there, and they go down there for quite a while, right? So we're going to put a pin in that. They do that. Now, a lot of people believe he went to South America because a lot of Nazi scientists went down there. Now, Operation Paperclip is, I don't know if a lot of you guys know, America, everybody, once the World War II was over, we took as many scientists as we could to try to like help us fuel getting better, right? So we took a lot of scientists from Nazi Germany to...
Yeah, we brought a lot of Nazis over to the Americas, people, and if you don't believe that, do your research.
That's just true.
A whole shit ton of Nazis came over as... you can't really call them refugees because, I mean, I guess
they were
they're
asked to come over.
killing people, but whatever they were, we brought a lot of Nazis over to America to work for us, which also is quite bizarre.
Yeah.
So do we?
So they have found, and if you guys don't know this, there's a lot of cool documentaries about this. So down in South America, there are like whole communities of people that are white that only speak German. It's really weird, and they actually have linked some scientists that were like torturing humans that came from Germany and actually were there. They obviously eventually died because it's been forever, right? So they did actually come to South America and set up these like towns of and you can find like Nazi memorabilia there. It's kind of bizarre, and that's a true
Mexico. Mexico actually has a lot of German speaking people, a lot of white people in Mexico, and they spoke German for a long time, and it's like complete colonies of just German people.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say is colonies. That's a better term for them. Like communities. No, colonies.
Yeah, they were colonies of German people in Mexico. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Mostly towards the northern end or the north side of Mexico, which is coincidentally close to America.
Yeah.
And that's where they were. These large communities and pockets of Germans.
Yeah. So again, kind of an odd thing, right? We know that some German scientists have been there, so there's not saying that he couldn't have gone there. The one that is kind of odd to me was their head of like the next guy right below Hitler. He said that he had built an impregnable fort for Hitler and some Nazis to stay at. Now he ventured that it was going to be anywhere between 200,000 people. Like it could go up to 200,000 people, including daycares and it was like a fully functional place that he was claiming happened. Now obviously we've never found it, just kind of weird. So that leads me to believe that it's not in South America, because I think otherwise we would have found it. I don't think you could hide it in the jungle, but I just think it would be harder to do. However, in Antarctica, I don't know if you guys recently saw, there was actually a news article where they were like, hey, what is this weird shape in Antarctica? And it's like completely flat and down. Now, if obviously what's that stupid, damn it, obviously there's like heat surges, right? Like we have problem with the weather from all our pollution, and I'm being stupid right now and can't think. So anyway, global warming, that's what I meant. Global warming. So we have global warming, and it started to melt. Now, if this was an impregnable base, this is large, so you would have this thing if it was melting away. Maybe that's it, right? Other reasons they believe it was there, again, like I said, that they went down there with with a lot of people to build something. They said it was for scientific reasons, but nobody over science was really down there, which is kind of odd. So it wouldn't surprise me if Hitler was able to be found in Antarctica, like if they moved him down there. Now, obviously, like Wood said, he's probably dead, right? He's definitely dead, unless he's a cyborg, which would be crazy. But he's not. Different conspiracy theory. Hopefully not. So, anyway, you have that.
I hope at 132 years old, he's dead.
Yeah, I would hope.
Otherwise, I want whatever they're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I want to live to be at least 100 years old.
Mm-hmm. For sure. So you have, again, you have these like weird phenomenons. Antarctica, it's not as easily searched as other places. They could lock down a base down there, and it would be harder for us to like locate it, right?
But what are you doing? You're not taking over world domination. You're not dominating the world in Antarctica.
No, but they just wanted him alive.
Yeah, I don't know.
All I want in life is Hitler Cyborg to release. Talk about reuniting the world. Wouldn't that be great? That's what it was. It was Nazi zombies and Hitler Cyborg, and all of a sudden, like all these people with their, shotgun.
Awesome.
Let's get
Isn't there a movie like that?
I don't know, but I'm gonna make one if not.
There is. I swear there's a movie. That would be pretty cool.
That would be pretty awesome. That's a pretty good movie. Quentin Tarantino, hit me up.
Over there in the what do you call your place over there? What's your studio called?
Oh, I just call it my dungeon. Like,
oh yeah, that's right. It's the dungeon. I gotta get this out of the way because I could swear I see. You're sipping on Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Yeah, Mike's Hard Strawberry Lemonade.
Ooh, look at you!
Not sponsored, but we should be. Come on, Mike's, step it up.
For the stuff.
Oh yeah,
and this is raspberry lemonade.
Oh, so I'm strawberry lemonade, raspberry lemonade. We're thinking on the same thing.
Really, really good. If anyone's wanting to try something really, really good.
So, is he alive? I don't know, but it's kind of crazy. If you guys have any other things about, obviously, we want Hitler Cyborg to release.
Okay. Can you say he's not alive? But what year approximately would he have died? He was alive.
Y2K. I think 2000 got him. I think personally, what happened? He went through his whole life. And then Backstreet Boys came out with their Y2K CD. Yeah. He popped that bad boy in, and it was too much, and his body couldn't take it, and he died.
I think he partied like it was 1999 because Prince said so, and then that was it.
Yeah, and he did that in 2000. You can't. If you just so you guys know, and this is a total disclaimer. If you party like it's 1999 and 2000, you'll die.
Like, you can't do that. No, Please don't try that at home.
Oh, please don't. Seriously. The more you know. So some other conspiracy theories. I think the NFL has a couple. He could have lived to the 90s. He definitely could have.
He was born. I doubt it. He was born in 1889.
Yeah. God damn.
He would have been 100 if you're doing the math. I don't think it's possible. I mean, I suppose anything's possible, but I don't think he would have.
So that's one. So other ones, and this is actually one that Borganic brought up to me, and actually it's not really a conspiracy. Like me and him actually truly do believe this. Do you remember the Baltimore Ravens and the 49ers when all of a sudden the power went out because they were getting their ass whooped? Yeah, Saints. You dirty bastards. I know that you guys did something. I know the NFL helped you out. They shut off the power. They're like, nobody's going to keep watching this stupid Super Bowl if you're getting butt spanked like that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. 100. Yep. That's a thing. Like, legit,
I thought the NFL knew. Say how Ray Lewis actually never killed anybody.
No, he killed somebody. For sure. Okay. Look at him. That dude definitely killed somebody. You see when he tackles somebody, he gets up, how he looks at them. That guy's murdered people, for sure. I don't even think that's...
Have you ever also listened to him give an interview where they're like, hey, so what do you think about, your charges? And he's like, there was a time when Jesus came, there's a sun in the sky, and the moon once went around me. Anyway, life's good.
And OJ none
of his
really
answers make any kind of sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he killed somebody.
Yeah.
Wasn't he in that Super Bowl, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah. This is his last one he won. So OJ didn't do it. That's another one. Obviously, I think we all kind of know that back in our hearts. And then
watch your mouth.
And then Tupac's still alive. I still 100% believe that.
I believe it. I'm on board with that one.
Yeah. So I think he's 100% alive. I mean, he's released a lot of albums now. A lot of people are like, "Oh, he just created all these great songs years in the future." Or years in the past, years in the future. No. Well, that would mean he's a big old dumb.
So with that, you have to then believe that he shaped or had a hand in current day style of music and still making music. Otherwise, his style dies when he dies.
Yeah,
he's not that far ahead in the future that he's keeping up with current times.
Exactly. So that's another one that I actually legitimately believe. It's like one of my ones that, when people are like, what conspiracy theories do you believe? I'm like, God damn it. Tupac's alive. No, it's like, so is Elvis. And I'm like, shut up. Elvis 100% died. He ain't have nobody trying to kill him. Tupac actually had Suge Knight after his ass. He had a reason to go out.
And he had Suge Knight and the LAPD to try and take him out. And
that's another one. The LAPD, a lot of people believe LAPD killed him. That's a pretty good conspiracy theory. So Why would he fake it? So
money.
Okay, so listen here, Boxer Mama. Hold on. And there are a bunch of artists who have posthumous albums worth of music. He died, and LAPD being dirty were paid off. See, I don't know.
LAPD, like if I got LAPD after me, I might fake my death.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly,
well, same with Suge Knight.
If not, they will make you death.
So I believe that the reason he faked it, Boxer Mama, was because cute name by the way, Boxer Mama. The reason I believe that he faked it was because again, all these people were after him. He realized that this was not the life he wanted to live, and he was out. So that's what I believe. Do you guys have any other Do you have any other conspiracy theories, Wood, that you're like, oh snaps, this is it. This is I 100% believe this. I like Operation Paperclip. Again, I think that's a real one. One that actually brought up by Wade was a lot of people believe that the airplanes, the things that they're spraying on people, there's a bunch of different things they think people are spraying. Some of them think that it's like this, like aluminum to slowly kill us. Some of them believe it's like mind controlling stuff. Kind of all over the place with some of these crazy conspiracy theories. But I mean, there is quite a bit.
I'm not a big conspiracy theorist guy.
Me either. Some of them I am, but
I know there's a lot of weird things out there, but I kind of just go with what I'm given. I know that's kind of boring, but I just like you can almost make anything a conspiracy. You could twist anything into being a conspiracy, and I just don't. I think that we're bored people, and so we look into so much. No. Oh, this one's great.
Magic Johnson was given AIDS, so people weren't scared of it. That's why he's asymptomatic at this point. What is up with that?
I don't even know if he's got it.
No, no way. I've never seen somebody with AIDS look so goddamn good. How did he get in better shape with AIDS?
He would only be HIV positive, right? Because isn't it like once you're like terminal, then it's AIDS? There's like a switch there. I don't know what it is.
AIDS gets you HIV, which kills you, isn't it?
No, it's the other way around.
The other way around?
HIV gives you AIDS, which kills you, is what I thought. I don't know. Borganic seems to be educated about it. Maybe he could tell us, or she could tell us.
I was told he didn't even test positive anymore. See, he cured it.
Well, Borganic apparently knows his agent, so I mean,
Borganic, let us know. So really, though, I mean, does that surprise you? Because everybody's sitting there going like,
I don't think he had it, to be honest with you.
And that's maybe they did that so people weren't scared of it.
I think that, and honestly, if it came down to like child support payments, wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
If he's like, well, I got AIDS, and then so all these ladies that he was with that have kids go, just kidding, that's not your kid. Then yeah, he's out of all that pay now.
When he got AIDS, he got.
Thank you, Borganic. That's a great one.
Yeah, that was a great one. If he got AIDS and got super ripped, Charles Barkley needs to get AIDS because he has gained some goddamn weight. And if it'll make you buff as fuck, get AIDS, bro. Apparently, it's good for you. Full disclosure, please, nobody trying to get ripped, get AIDS. Please don't go around giving AIDS and being like, hey, I'm making people ripped. Though that would be a funny way to say that you're like a person, like a fitness assistant or whatever.
Maybe The Rock has super AIDS then.
He's got all the AIDS. Double AIDS. He has double AIDS. That's why he's so big. Dude, Magic Johnson got he was skinny. It's not like he was like fat or anything.
He was just young and athletic.
That dude got yoked.
Well, but I'm sure they put him on steroids to like fight infection and like help him.
Either that or AIDS is superpowers.
I'm not because think about oh shit, his name escapes me. Queen's singer.
Freddie Mercury.
Freddie Mercury, and then Eazy-E. Like they got it, and they were gone in a half a second.
Yeah,
but yet Magic's like, nah, bitches, this is how you do.
This is how you do it, baby.
I don't think he had it. I've when I was a kid, because that happened early 90s?
Yeah.
Late 80s, early 90s, somewhere, whenever it came out. I remember I'm like, huh. Because the joke was, hey, are you HIV positive? Are you sure? Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a stupid kid joke. Yeah. Anyway, so I was always, but then now as I've become an adult and he's become an elder, like there's no way. Come on.
So, Boxer Mama, she probably knows too much about Freddie Mercury. HIV turns into AIDS, which is incurable. Today, HIV is totally manageable. Freddie had AIDS.
That's what we were saying. That's what I was saying. But I don't believe that Magic had even HIV.
No.
I think he might have had a scare, and so his publicist was like, everybody be careful, because he's got like a bunch of random kids out there.
I think he was paid by, I don't know, AIDS, and they were like, hey, make sure that people aren't so scared of this. Like, everybody's scared that they're just going to get the AIDS
to pay me.
And so he was like, well, now nobody's scared of it. It's manageable, so you can't get paid for it. Back in the day, Magic Johnson was like, dude, I'll just make everybody not scared of it. They'll pay me fat. And speaking of which, that brings up our the person who our sponsor for today, AIDS. No, I'm just kidding. No, but they had to have paid him. That's actually a really good one, Borganic. That's actually a really good one because that's 100%. Yeah, he did not have AIDS. Never had AIDS.
No, absolutely lying not. Bastard. I still to this day do not believe it. No. When I was a prepubescent kid, I believed it. Yeah. I don't anymore.
Well, I still even remember, even as a young kid, going, well, I don't know. He's pretty jacked. Like, he's pretty jacked. I don't know.
Yeah, but you saw him in a different point. When I actually saw him play, I remember when they kicked him off the court because, like, sweat would give you AIDS, which isn't a thing. We learned that later after, Anyway, but they kicked him off the court, and then he was able to get back on the court and play again.
Yeah.
Which also bolstered his career. Remember, Michael Jordan quits, and then he comes back and plays for the Wizards, and it bolsters his, gives him a few extra $1 million.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much more into that.
He probably would have won another ring with the Wizards had he gotten AIDS. He'd have been like all sorts of jets. So stupid. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, yeah, you're dumb.
But yeah,
what else you guys got out there?
You guys have any other good, crazy things that have? Oh, another one that I've actually heard a couple people say when I've asked, like, "Hey, what conspiracy theories do you have?" And this is a weird one. Is that pigeons were used for spying on us? Like some people believe still that pigeons are like spies for the government.
But how? How are they spying? What are they doing? Are they like, excuse me, Mr. Wood is over there. He's jerking off to the things and stuff. So, like, what are they doing? How do they communicate that?
Jeremy's beating off in a Kmart parking lot again. Like, like,
you better go check him out.
Yeah, let's get him.
Like, what?
Big Brother.
But that's a thing that's so broad.
Yeah,
like Big Brother's everywhere, right? Like, because Big Brother goes hand in hand with the man.
Yeah, so a lot of people believe that. And again, I'm not going to touch too much on it because it'll hit.
Touch it.
Is like the whole cabal, all that stuff. That I'm not getting into. That is for a whole other long day of more drinking. I don't have enough bottles here. I only have 20. So that's a different thing. But yeah, there's a lot of weird conspiracies that like the Bermuda Triangle was like a big one, right? That like
here's something that's silly, that's sad that people had to go and be stupid about it. The Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah.
Why did people have to go and ruin that?
That's the thing. Some of those I wish would like stay real. Like same with like Sasquatch, right? I don't believe Sasquatch is in America because it would be too easy for him to find. Huh?
You don't believe there's Bigfoot?
No. If there is, so if there's a Bigfoot, right? I think it's one of three things. Okay. Right? I think it was either man-sized sloths, which are actually a thing. They actually still believe are alive. If you saw that in the wild,
would be a Bigfoot,
huh?
Which
Yeah.
Okay, then it would be a Bigfoot.
Yeah, then I would believe in that, right? I don't think there's any more in America. That's what I'm saying. I think that if there was like, so if you're talking about Bigfoot, like a single being that's been around forever, I believe that if that was a thing, it would have to be somewhere where it could constantly be hitting, such as the rainforest, somewhere where it can always stay out of sight. We've gone too far for it.
Okay, but when you say, okay, first of all, you said America, so hold on to that for a second.
Sorry.
And you say always living, but they like have offspring, right? Or are you saying it has to be one being from beginning to end?
Well, that depends, because some people believe that, I mean, there's a bunch of things around it. Some people believe it's Cain from the Bible, like Cain and Abel. They believe because God said that you were going to be cursed to walk the earth forever. They believe that that's him. Okay. No, it's still kind of a conspiracy theory. Yes, there's a difference. Okay.
What are you talking about? Legends?
I'm talking about legends right now, but it's still kind of a conspiracy theory. Because people said that they've seen him and he hasn't. So we'll get off that one then. Fine. We'll do a whole other thing on the legends. Also, another one I'm going to do towards Halloween, which is kind of coming up, is like vampires, werewolves, all that stuff. That's like some of my favorite. That's my jam.
Yeah, but that's a whole different thing.
That's a whole different thing. We'll go.
Yeah,
we'll go in the future. I just kind of want to say that that's coming up. I can't really think of any other conspiracy theories that
there's like modern day ones that obviously we're not going to touch on those, like COVID. That's there's that. There's 9/11, which also is another big one, right? Like
some people believe that the Titanic never sank. That's another weird one.
I believe it. So, but there's also people believe that they knew that it was going to sink, and so they let it go.
That's true. So if you guys don't have any other ones,
it was a cover for another boat.
Oh yeah. Princess Diana was another one that they believed that that she was kind of forced out.
JFK.
Right? JFK is another one. JFK is kind of a weird one, I think.
I don't know. I'm not educated enough about it.
That's why I'm
not really give an opinion.
Yeah.
Huh?
I've only heard like a couple of things, but I don't know enough about it like I do the DB Cooper and some of those other ones for me to talk about it for 20
because
minutes.
It seems like every time somebody talks about one of those, it ends up going political, and that's I mean, that in and of itself is a conspiracy. So I don't want to talk about that.
Exactly. So yeah, we'll do a whole other one on legends, because I actually have thought of a couple legends just thinking here now where I'm trying to think of conspiracy theories. They end up all going to legends. That'd be a good one too, like Fountain of Youth, a lot of those ones. Let's do something on that.
Yeah.
That'd be a good one. So anyway, guys, thank you.
Your show's not going to end after tonight, so you can always do the legends one coming up.
Yeah. So thanks guys for tuning in on this one, Conspiracy Theories, talking about conspiracies. Thank you guys so much. Please, if you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. Subscribe on however the hell you can. Tell all your friends about it. And, hit me up. You can always, theoverplaypodcast@gmail.com. Send me things that you guys want to hear. If you guys want to come on the show, email me. I don't really care. And like I said, we have a couple of them planned coming up. We got aliens, legends now, a bunch of other stuff. So I'm also going to start actually releasing by myself, unfortunately. So friggin' lonely. Some D&D content. First thing about barbarians. I'm just going to do kind of like a laid out of that. So if you're into D&D, totally stick around for that. And anyway, guys, have a good night, and love you. Bye, Wood. And say hi to Wood. Bye. All right, later.